Let's talk about some of the cons. I will say before I go to the cons, there are more pros than there are cons, but obviously we got to talk about the bad. So for the cons, I got here not for people who don't like crowds and be in close quarters and in close confinement with other people. If that's not you, then cruising is not for you because it's pretty close quarters. I mean, you talk about some of the cruise ships we were on held 5,000 people. 5,000 people on the ship. And that 5,000, sometimes it can include the 5,000 plus the crew, or it can be 5,000 without the crew, and with the crew it's an additional 2,000, 7,000 people. So yeah, a lot of people can be on these ships, and if you're not the type of person who likes to be in close quarters with others and being, too much personal space, and cruising may not be for you. If you're a germaphobe, cruising may not be for you because I'm telling you, it's almost like a petri dish out there. That's why I'm very careful on the foods I eat when I'm on those cruise ships. And very, very careful about what I put into my stomach. And I also take supplements when I go out to make sure that my stomach lining is strengthened out there because you run into some crazy bugs out there on these ships. So it's not for those folks who are claustrophobic or have issues with confined spaces. One of the other cons for cruising, I found this out firsthand. I didn't know what the hell was going on. It's seasick. It's seasickness. Some people don't have an issue at all with cruising. Seasick is nothing. When it first happened to me, it was on that first cruise. I couldn't understand, man. It didn't just hit me. It's just kind of like, I can't explain it, man. It was like a colicky feeling, like a sick feeling in my stomach. And I didn't understand what it was at first. It didn't dawn on me it was seasick, because seasick, you think you're very sick and you're throwing up and you're moving all over the place. And that's just not necessarily the case with seasickness. Seasickness is just, even the subtle movements of ships, people just have sensitivity to them. But what happened with me, I felt really, really like sickly for some reason. I would go to a restaurant, and I want a glass of wine or something. And that's when I noticed something was going on, because anytime I drink alcohol, I felt sick to my stomach. It's like, I felt sick to my stomach. And I think it was because of the alcohol, already. It can be rough on the stomach already, and then you're out there seasick and your stomach lining is like, what the hell's going on? You try to ingest that alcohol, now you got some alcohol sloshing around in some weakened stomach lining, so you got a bad mix, man. And so my stomach I would drink alcohol, it would burn sometimes, and it would just feel like I'm gonna throw up. I couldn't even finish a glass of wine. I found myself having to try to force some wine down, not like an alcoholic, but I want to get a buzz on, man. I want to have a good time out by the pool or whatever. But I found that once I was able to do that, get past that seasickness, I was okay. And then I learned the hard way that you got to prepare. So we made sure we took some seasick medication out there. There's quite a few of them out there. Dramamine, I think, is one. There's a whole bunch of other herbal supplements out there that help with seasickness. So I definitely tell you to prepare yourself before you go out there. And if you one evening you're just hanging out and you're wondering, man, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel weird? You're probably seasick. The next con I have on here. Okay, with seasick, I want to go back to the seasick. I want to go back to seasick because the other con I got / rough seas. That's one of the cons of being on the ocean, man. The unpredictability of the rough seas out there. Man, I've seen some rough oceans out there where the waves actually come up damn near to our rooms up there. And it can get pretty wicked. It gets so wicked sometimes where they don't allow people to go outside on the decks of the cruise ship because it's just too bad. The weather's bad. The winds are bad. So everybody goes inside. But I've seen some rough waves out there. There's a thing called listing. I didn't realize what it was at first, but I think for you Navy guys and for you sea folks out there, listing, I think, is when the ship, it does this thing, side to side. It's just listing, you know what I'm saying? And it's going with the waves, and man, that is a horrible feeling. One night it did that stuff, man, and I was falling all over the walls. There were a lot of elderly people falling all over the floors and walls because on the cruises, there are a lot of elderly people that, surprisingly enough, that take cruises. And I asked a person about that, and they broke it down to me like this. They said, Eric, what else are they going to do? What are they going to do? Sit at home by themselves with no one to take care of them? At least on a cruise, they can pay a fee to have their own room, be catered to. They got casinos there. They got bingo. They got all the amenities, massages, pools, travel. So I started thinking, man, when I get older, that might be the way to go, cruising, because I mean, it's one-stop shop for living, basically. But the rough seas is something I have to bring up because sometimes that can be scary. But depending on the size of the ship, obviously, if it's a smaller ship, you're gonna feel a lot more. The larger ships, you don't tend to feel them that much, but I felt them on the larger ships as well. So on to the next one, the next con. The next con I have is after a few days, smelled and dirty. That's what I have here. After a few days, smelled and dirty. And what I mean by that, as you can imagine, a cruise ship, let's say a cruise ship has, I'm gonna say 4,000 people on it. Let's say 6,000 people, 4,000 people, 2,000 crew members, 6,000 people. Well, all those people on those cruise ships using the bathrooms, they're doing every sort of thing, taking showers, toilets, all that sort of stuff. And you know, cruise ships are designed to hold all this waste and everything, but after a while, man, that stuff begins to stink bad. And you can tell towards the end of the cruise that it's starting to fill up, because cruise lines are and I'm gonna be very careful this before I say this, but I'm damn near sure cruise lines are forbidden from dumping waste out in the ocean. They're forbidden from dumping waste out in the ocean. In fact, on a couple of cruise ships, I saw signs that said, excuse me, if the passengers notice anything like that, to report it to the local authorities, port authorities, whichever port they were at. So they're not allowed to throw trash and waste and all that stuff into the ocean, because as you can imagine, it doesn't bode well for the sea life in the ocean, the fish and all the other aquatic wildlife and things like that. So it does get dirty at the end of the cruises, especially on the long ones. I remember a 10-day cruise, man, about the 8th day, man, you start like, man, this stinks, man. It's like, especially when you can smell it, especially when you're getting off the ship, because the vents are pointing away from the ship. So when you're getting off the ship to go to port, you pass by one of those vents, man, you can definitely smell it. So, and you can kind of feel the ship too. The crew does a great job, don't get me wrong. They do a great job of cleaning these ships. They're constantly cleaning the ships, but you're talking about thousands of people on the ship. So do the math, and you're gonna have some things that are missed, and you're gonna have some icky, nasty stuff there. So take you plenty of sanitizer, wipes, what have you, and just prepare for the last several days. And be mindful of what I just said. So if you're on a cruise, last several days, just kind of start paying attention, looking around, and kind of start smelling, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So one of the other cons I have here is limited time in nice places. Limited time in nice places. So the cruise ships have tight itineraries. They have tight schedules that they have to meet, because it's not just about the ship getting out on the water. They got to get approval from wherever they're going. Let's say if they're going to Canada, they got to get approval from the Canadian officials just to get in the Canadian waters. And so a lot of time is taken, doing a lot of negotiating, maneuvering to see if the ship can come, how long it can stay. And for a ship to stay at a port for 8 hours is good. Hell, for 6 hours is good, really, But I've been on some ports where the ship only stayed like 3 or 4 hours. Like, why even get off the ship? You know what I'm saying? You can't go no further than the port. You know what I'm saying? But that's the only downside, I think. The con is that you have limited time in some of the very nice places. Now, we went to Greece. Santorini, and some of the other beautiful, nice places. And they actually, the way the agenda was lined up, because you pay a lot of money to go over there, they had the agenda lined up where we arrived mid-morning, probably 10 in the morning, and then the ship was set to set sail 12 hours later, 10 at night. And the reason for this is they want everybody to have an opportunity to experience beautiful evenings in Greece, especially the sunsets, man. It's just beautiful. All the white buildings and the blue, man. It's just beautiful. Santorini and Mykonos and some of the other places there, very beautiful places. So, we looked up with that one. They let us out 12 hours out and do what we wanted to do. And so I had some great Greek food and, met some Greek shop owners. And so it was a great time. But the con is, for the most part, you're not going to have that all the time. Some places you're only going to have 6 hours, 8 hours, and you better be back because they will leave you. Good rule of thumb for me is always plan on being back an hour before. If they say be back at 5, I want to be on that ship at 4 o'clock. That's a good rule of thumb. Some people's good rule of thumb are 2 hours. I'll leave it up to y'all, but the biggest thing I want to say is don't get left, because they will leave you. And if you get left on a cruise ship, what will happen is you got to go find an airport to try to meet the cruise ship at the next port, because you got your belongings and hopefully not your family on the cruise ship. And so that can be quite costly. And if you didn't bring your passport with you, you're gonna catch hell going from country to country. So I always take a passport with you, or at least take a copy of a passport and have access. So if you have access to the embassy, as an American citizen, you have access to the embassy, but it helps to have some sort of documentation, some government documentation, like a passport, a copy of a passport. The last con I have on here about cruising, my 10 cruises in 3 years, the last con I have on here is the focus on money, After a while, I got tired of that. And when I started really peeping game and really started understanding what was going on, I was like, man, they nickel and dime you, man. I mean, they make you pay for everything from water. You know, yeah, they have free water on the ships, but there's no free bottled water, anything like that. You got to have your own container and go get, like, basically have a water fountain, something like that. They have plastic cups, reusable plastic cups you can get water in, but that's it. You got to pay for everything. Pay for sodas, coffee, free coffee, but it's the cheaper coffee. If you want to upscale it and upgrade it, you can get the Starbucks on a lot of ships. But man, there's such a focus on money. One of the biggest ways they get you is the drink packages. You know, they'll give you a cheap cruise, but the drink packages is where they make their nickel and dime, man. I mean, my goodness, those drink packages can run, some of them can run in a couple $1,000s, and that's real talk, especially on the international cruises. But the drink packages, they include everything from coffee to your sodas to your juices, alcohol beverages. You can get a drink package, just a regular drink package, and you can get one that's like a supersized drink package where you can get the premium liquors and things like that. Anytime I go on a cruise ship and get a drink package, I just get the regular drink package. I just want water, and if I want a wine or beer, I be able to have that. But I typically don't drink that much anyway. I'm not a heavy drinker like that. And on these cruise ships, it's funny because I know some cruise ships have drink limits. I know Carnival has a drink limit of 16 drinks, but pay attention because that 16 drink is really 32. If you go to the bar and tell that guy to give me a double of a shot of liquor or whatever, that's one drink. You got 2 shots. It's really two drinks and one drink, if you get my meaning. So they say a 16 drink limit, but there's really a 32 drink limit. And by the way, some of these people act on some of these cruise ships. I believe them. But, and there's a reason for the limit. But the focus on money is crazy, man. You know, they got restaurants on the ship. For the most part, the food is free, but they have restaurants on the ship you have to pay extra for. And some of them can be pretty pricey. I get what they're doing with that. It's a business model, so I'm not going to even knock that. That's just their business model. But, man, the nickel and diamond was something else, man. They want you to pay for everything. Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi sucks. It's horrible. So if you want to get the Wi-Fi plan, get the best one you can if you're going to spend the money. Because if you get your regular Wi-Fi, it doesn't work. And the ship says they have free Wi-Fi. Nah. I think some of the ships, like Virgin, they may start offering better Wi-Fi, things like that, Wi-Fi coverage. But internet and Wi-Fi, man, is very expensive. Drink packages are very expensive. The upcharge for the nicer restaurants, very expensive. Some of the excursions, meaning the activities you do at the ports, such as skiing or I don't know, waterboarding. I don't know. I'm just thinking of something. Just anything out there you do, canoeing out there. You want to go at the port while the ship is in Greece. You're gonna pay a lot of money for it. You've got sightseeing trips in airplanes. You've got sightseeing trips on boats. Man, they try to charge you everything. But here's the trick, though. Once you get off the ship, the same people they're trying to sell you these products, these expensive ass excursion activity products. Some of these same people are sitting right outside the ship waiting on you at a very much discounted price. You can definitely negotiate and get a good deal on some good transportation, some good trips, and some good experiences with some of the locals. Just be mindful that you do it at your own risk, because the ship is not at fault if this guy takes you somewhere and doesn't bring you back. So just be mindful of that. So that's it with my pros and cons for my 10 cruises in 3 years. And I only cruised 2 cruise lines. I've only cruised Royal Caribbean and Norwegian cruise lines. And so between the two, I can't say which one is better than the other. I probably lean towards Royal Caribbean is better than the other one, because Royal Caribbean seems to be kicking out more and more new ships. And so, yeah, man, that's it. Pros and cons of my 10 cruises. So if you haven't cruised, try it. It's not for everybody. It is a very reasonable way to travel. You can see a lot of very beautiful places with the limited amount of money. So with that, this is Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. Happy cruising. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.